Mexico already earned themselves a bye, so everybody else is jockeying for positioning. As you see, 87 degrees in Dominican Republic, and looks like we're in the clear, nice weather today, although again a little bit on the hot side. El Salvador and Cuba group play. I'm Maura Sheridan, thank you so much. And this is the rest of the group. So Martinique is also in this group, and Canada, they'll actually play later today. So that's just something to watch out for. They'll play at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, Canada is coming off a qualifier to that World Cup on the U20 side last season. Well, we'll see what these two teams can do today in their first game. Obviously, you want to set the tone, and you want to just, you have to actually win the group in order to move on to the championship. So 8 teams make it. There's 6 groups now, and 2, of course, United States and Mexico already had a bye. So you got to win your group to move on to the championship, and that's the goal for these teams, and it starts right here, El Salvador and Cuba. Should be starting in just a couple of minutes, but it will be an interesting challenge for both of these teams. Of course, El Salvador senior team had a heartbreaking loss in Concacaf to miss out on the World Cup, the Senior World Cup coming up this year in New Zealand and Australia. And this is a country that's really grown their women's soccer. They've done a fantastic job, and so interested to see what they have today. And Cuba on the flip side, again, an uphill battle with El Salvador, with teams like Canada in their group, but never know what's going to happen here in CONCACAF, and this first game can really either spiral things in a bad way for you or make things, or start things out on a positive note. So we'll see what these two teams have got.
Damas y caballeros, demos la bienvenida a los equipos nacionales de El Salvador y Cuba para el partido de esta tarde del clasificatorio femenino sub-20 de Concacaf 2023. Ponerse de pie para escuchar el himno nacional de El Salvador. Por favor, seguid de pie. A continuación, el himno nacional de Cuba.
All right, just heard the national anthems for both teams, El Salvador and Cuba, and we're getting ready to kick off. This is the first game for both of these teams in Concacaf U20 championship play. Again, everybody here in Group A is looking to move on, but it starts right here. We'll take a look at the lineups for both sides soon, as well as get you introduced to. Oh, let's start here. So Eric Acuna is the head coach for El Salvador. Valenzuela will be in net, and then you've got Sanchez, who has been a part of, El Salvador from a very young age, and she will be the captain today. So not much of a surprise there for El Salvador. This is the starting 11 for them. Again, a lot of unknowns with these teams because they haven't played a game quite yet as this U20 crew, but a lot of them have come up through the ranks. Francia Gonzalez is our center referee today out of Mexico. But as I was saying, lots of these players have played at the U15 level, the U17 level, and now here at the U20s. And obviously, this is a very important tournament as everybody wants to win CONCACAF for the pride and also for a chance to go to the next U20 World Cup. Cuba, you see the captain there, Leonette Franco. She will be leading the charge for Cuba. Taking on El Salvador. Take a look at their starting 11 coming up as well. Manel Local is their head coach. And you see Hernandez in net, Franco the captain, and again, a lot of unknowns with these groups because we haven't seen them play quite yet, but should be a really good game, and CONCACAF always breeds some competition, of course, with these players at a very high level playing for their country. Just about ready to go. El Salvador sporting the white kits, and in red, that is Cuba. Just one final meeting before this first game. Again, in Group A, they have to win the group to move on. And this is a tournament that this qualifying round is going to last all week. We'll have a couple of days off, but a lot of soccer to be played. Looks like the two teams are actually going to switch sides. Cuba getting set. El Salvador here in Dominican Republic, one of a bunch of games going on today and again over the course of the week. CONCACAF U20 qualifiers underway now. El Salvador will start with possession here and immediately a long ball. Well, I think we might have just got a tiny bit of a taste of what El Salvador is going to look to do today. That one just booted from the midfield, looking to have those players on the wings run up and potentially score. They're definitely looking to catch Cuba off guard or in a straight line defensively. Already some high press as well for El Salvador. Quickly a set piece. Cuba having some issues getting it out. See Eric Acuna, El Salvador's head coach here at the U20 level. Well, looks like a bit of a miscue there. And it will be Cuba with a goal kick. This is Hernandez. See Logal, the head coach for Cuba as well. Again, we're here in the Dominican Republic. And this is where they will have that championship round as well, May 24th through June 3rd. So about a month off after this, and the 6 teams plus United States and Canada, as this one crossed and out of play, will come back to the Dominican Republic to play that championship series. Of course, the United States, the reigning Concacaf champions at this level. From Hernandez, sends that one not even out of the attacking third. Back in the midfield, cut over, off the wing, and the cross is deflected. But finally out of some trouble there. Bahamande gets things started for Cuba. Over her head, and El Salvador just can't corral it in. Leading pass just too far ahead of the forwards there, but again, we're seeing some of the early targets for El Salvador. Jasmine Diaz making a run. Guillen. That one muscled in the midfield, and a foul against El Salvador. Zun Iki will take this kick for Cuba. Searching for options. You can see the body language there. The no-look long ball into the box. Bahamande with the handball, so it's going the other way. We've definitely seen her be shifty, though, early. And again, the intended target almost got in behind. If it didn't take that hop into her hand, it seems like she would have had a clear shot. Off the toss, racing to it is Lopez. Lopez cross headed out. Fight to get there first, it's Cuba. The tap is wide. 2 players going down, and it's going to be Cuba's possession. Maria Blanco. Strong header out on El Salvador. You look at the Concacaf level on the senior sides, you see a lot of players that came up through the ranks and played on the U20 national teams. Villatoro, cross but nobody home. Rebound, has a chance here for El Salvador, and it's booted in. Dariela Lopez puts El Salvador on the board. Just a tough break there for Cuba. Shalia Hernandez makes the initial stop. Just rolls off her fingertips, and you knew that was danger the second it did. Cross and nobody's home, she cuts it off. Lopez comes crashing in off that rebound to finish the job. That is a very tough way to start the game for Cuba. And for Lopez, well, it gives this El Salvador team some wiggle room early. Again, so Lopez strikes in the 5th minute. Guillen. Another chance for El Salvador. Really wasn't a shot, and that was the first shot that El Salvador has taken in this game, I believe. That one hops to Hernandez. Goal kick for Hernandez. Spent a lot of time here in El Salvador's attacking third. And again, they haven't taken too many quality looks, just that one shot that ultimately went in off the rebound. But they're putting the pressure on, and Cuba's having some issues just getting this out cleanly. Hernandez opts for the short pass. This could be danger in their own box. Just whipped out. Back with El Salvador. Frederick Guillen sails that one over everyone's head. Lands for Villatora, but we'll get a whistle. Back with Cuba. Again, lots of games just today in general. Canada, Martinique, that's coming at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then just 3 more. Honduras, Bermuda is one at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We've got a late game featuring Jamaica as well at 9 p.m. Eastern. Rodriguez. Villatora in the box. Tries to make a move. Still has it. Disrupted a little bit. And finally, Cuba can take it away. Nice tackle put on. Short passes here for El Salvador. A tackle by Sanchez. Again, the captain today for El Salvador. There she is. She's so strong defensively. It's one of those midfielders that, you know, you just saw it there. She can make that quick tackle and then distribute it very quickly. So even though she plays more of a defensive midfield role, she's able to find her teammates extremely well. Seen her at different levels with El Salvador, and now she's part of the U20 team. Off Castellanos, back with El Salvador. Cuba just can't find any sort of momentum. String together a couple of passes, put together a nice sequence. Haven't seen it quite yet. Leonette Franco, captain today, to Blanco. Switching fields here for Cuba. And you can see this pressure from El Salvador still just giving this team some issues. Nice pass from Sanchez. Leading opportunity for El Salvador. Going for the brace, unsuccessful. Lopez already has a goal. Aggressive play. Back to Sanchez. Gets beat that time around. Here's a chance for Cuba to tie it up. And the goalkeeper, Valenzuela, comes out. Looks like offside anyway, but I love the idea. That's the only thing about El Salvador and how high they're playing is if you can get in behind, there's going to be a lot of green. Sometimes it just takes one move and probably a couple of long passes to get over the top of that. Lopez trying to juggle it to herself. Villatora, her crosses have been lethal today. Over the head of Rodriguez. Lands in the 18, pulls it out here on the wing. Off the reset. El Salvador just has way more possession time than Cuba, but there's a nice takeaway. Bahamonde up the middle, gives it right back. Rosinos. Villatora offside. Again, we're here in the Dominican Republic. It is 87 degrees, all things considered, not too bad. Sanchez looking for options. Cut down by that Cuban defense. Rodriguez flicks it, looking for Lopez. Broken up. Sanchez again. Again, she's just constantly on the ball. Sorry to beat a couple of minutes ago, but that is a rarity. Frederick. Still in. Everybody thought that was going to roll, and ultimately off of Rodriguez. You can see Local coaching his team right now, the leader for Cuba today. Obviously, very important. Get these players just sort of learning the way of how their country likes to play soccer, and anytime they can get the same organization, it's going to help when they eventually, like I said, a bulk of them will go to the senior national team at some point, and so it starts here at these lower levels. They set up a system, and usually they want to continue that at the senior levels. That was some accidental friendly fire, it appeared, for El Salvador. Again, 5th-minute goal from Lopez. That's a difference so far. Viatora in the box, keeps it. Lopez blocked on her shot. Here's a chance for El Salvador. Cross, Lopez. She has lots of space, but just too heavy of a touch. She's been open pretty much every time, as Rubio was able to find her there. Again, I said this in the open, but El Salvador senior national team, great run in Concacaf, came down to a qualifying World Cup game with Panama, and they lost a heartbreaking match. It was extremely competitive. Panama just had a couple of great goals in the end, but you know, El Salvador was, again, just moments away from clinching a World Cup berth, and it's just part of Concacaf. While there's champions that come out of it, there's also some heartbreak, and that includes the U20 level. They have a World Cup at this level as well. Happened last year, and Spain ultimately won. United States, Mexico, Canada all represent Concacaf in that tournament. Again, some of the world's future superstars on display. Blanco turns it right back over. Frederick tries to lace it through the defense, and it splits. Lopez can't track it down. Back with Frederick, stretches out. Rodriguez, Sanchez, nice little move in the midfield, swarmed by red kits. Lofts up a pass, here's a chance for El Salvador, but it bounces through Hernandez. Again, love the idea from Sanchez. Cuba with a lucky bounce, maybe a chance to get something going offensively. Like I said earlier, we just haven't seen them string together too many passes. And right away it's thrown to El Salvador. Looks like we have an injury. We're gonna have a foul as well, but look completely comfortable there. Yep, a pretty obvious trip as Ian goes down. I think she might have got stepped on in the process. Race to get there. Pressure from Rodriguez. But it looked like it last touched El Salvador. Frederick's head lands and cleared with not a ton of purpose, but Logal is able to grab it out of the air, head coach for Cuba. That's the problem. Again, El Salvador is putting on a lot of pressure, and it seems like it's frazzling this Cuban team right now. Because when they get possession, the passes are rushed and they're not with a ton of purpose. They usually go right to El Salvador. Big shot, but it curls in for Lopez, a goal scorer. Hernandez with an easy grab. Viatora right back at it, but she gets tripped. Pretty obvious and a great spot for a free kick. A little bit of a warning against Dame Ellis there for Cuba. We'll see what El Salvador can do if they can add to their lead again. 5th minute strike from Lopez. That's where we stand. Set piece coming for El Salvador, who's dominated this game so far. That one hops in the box. Just at the top for Rodriguez, turns and decides to possess. Frederick with a little loft in, quick tap, and that's a tough collision. 50-50 though. They will play on. Here's a chance. Armande cuts it back. Doesn't have numbers though. Nice pass. Here's a chance for Cuba to tie it up. And offside is called. That's heartbreaking for Cuba as Demelis was just a tad offside. Honestly, though, it seemed like Valenzuela was going to make that stop regardless, or she did, as they played through. Here's a chance for Rodriguez. Off to the races. Again, doesn't have numbers, so she'll pull it out. Rodriguez, a late addition to this starting lineup. Monday. This one whipped back for El Salvador now. Looks like another offside. We're 20 minutes in. We haven't seen a ton of shots for El Salvador. They've just kept the ball. Way more than Cuba has so far in this game. But if you're El Salvador, you want to get that cushion goal, that insurance goal. Because as we just saw, even though offside was called against Demelis, there's still an opportunity. One nice pass and Cuba ties this game up, and it's a whole different story. So for El Salvador, you, I think, would regret not scoring a second. Boza with the header, and it's going to be back with El Salvador. Sanchez. Ayala ricochets off a couple of players. Demelis sprints to it. Past one defender. And gets a call. Nice move by Demelis there. And you can see her sit down to the green after that one. Took a knock and just kept playing through it, but I think it felt the best. Was able to get past Guillen for El Salvador. Definitely not the biggest player out there, Demelis, but we've seen her speed. Valenzuela, goalkeeper for El Salvador, directing traffic. So everybody gets set on this set piece for Cuba. This is the first real scoring chance that we've seen. Hasn't been offside. Francia Gonzalez, again, center referee today, just having one final word with El Salvador. Off the boot, straight for net, and the keeper's got it in Valenzuela. Rodriguez sends that right into Bahamande. Didn't hear the whistle, but it's going to be El Salvador to possess. Guillen has to take a couple of steps back. Lopez plays through some contact. And another offside. Believe that it's at least 2, but I think it's 3 now. Just on that right side. Viatora just a little ahead of herself at times. We've seen a bunch in this game so far. Again, bounces right back to El Salvador. Plenty of green to operate. Finally some pressure coming, and it's turned over. Acuna looking on. Again, El Salvador has that goal from Lopez, and it happened on a cross where no one was on the other end of it. Hernandez, the keeper for Cuba, was able to cut it off. The problem was it bounced off her fingertips into some space and right into Lopez. Lopez just with an easy finish there, and that's where we stand. El Salvador with that slight 1-0 lead. It's going to lead us to a hydration break here. Again, 87 degrees. Again, there's that cooling break. Everyone just, you know, getting hydrated, but also a chance for both of these coaches to kind of reset, talk about how they're going to proceed in this game. So plenty of time for Cuba to get that equalizer. We've seen moments where you think, okay, Cuba can build off of that, and then it goes away quickly. El Salvador gets it right back. But even on that set piece, that was a pretty decent look. It ended up just kind of curling a little bit wide so that Valenzuela could pick it up, and it wasn't actually really on frame, but it was a great chance. Let's take a look at the goal again. Starts with Viatora on a cross again. Rodriguez was not on the far post for that one, but just some trouble handling this for the goalkeeper. Lopez makes her pay. That's a really, really tough start for Cuba. Obviously because you're down, but also emotionally because it wasn't, you know, this nasty shot where you hat tip. It was a bit of an error there. But we'll see how they respond. Again, tons of time left in this game, tons of time left in this tournament as it lasts all week. Everyone just trying to win the group, and this is Group A. Bahamonde. Physical play, and looks like it's going to be called against her. Seems like she disagrees. Suarez on this kick for Cuba, short pass. Sanchez leading pass, here comes Lopez, plenty of space, Lopez with the touch, and it's too high off her left foot. Oh, what a chance for goal number 2. Lopez almost had a brace. Again, touches that right into the top of the 18. It just goes too high on the shot. That's tough for El Salvador. Would have been great to head into halftime with a, for sure, 2-0 lead. Still trying to get that second goal, though. Sanchez takes it herself this time, and it's off the mark. You see Hernandez talking to her defense. Boza loses it. Issues again clearing for Cuba. Barely kept in. Now we'll get the whistle. I was going to say, it looked like she stepped out there. Rosinos on this defense for El Salvador hasn't seen too much action. It does feel like for Cuba, on that left side, if Demelis can get in behind, that seems like the best potential chance. She's been pretty fast. Here she comes again. See that speed. Nice tackle, though. Rosinos. And now we're going to get a whistle and a yellow card. Guillen gets her first yellow. It's the first one we've seen in this game. And that's very important to note. Defensively, have to be careful now. Getting this early in the first half, and now you're just put on notice one more, and obviously you're sitting.
Atención, damas y caballeros. Tarjeta amarilla para el equipo de El Salvador. Jugadora número 3, Linda Guillen, al minuto 30.
Free kick coming. Valenzuela, last time there was a set piece, it went right to her. Zuzun Aki back to take this. She took the last one too, and she certainly had the strength and the distance. Just curved almost out. Valenzuela was able to handle. See what Zuzun Aki has here. Zuzun Aki up and out. Almost just a little too much speed to that, because it's placed pretty well if someone was able to get a header. Lofts that one up, lands in the box. Defensively stopped here for Cuba. Cleared right into a teammate. And back with El Salvador. Nothing really going Cuba's way. There's a shot from outside, and it curls right to the keeper, Hernandez. Ayala with the shot for El Salvador. That's a handball.
Mira, Aymeli, desvídate y de frente para allá. Vamos a buscar ese rebote, vamos. Prepárate para pegarle bien, mi amor, vamos. Prepárate para pegarle bien, mi amor, vamos. Para acá, ve allá el rebote, mi amor. Con fuerza, Ignachi, para arriba, está muy atrás, Ignachi.
Zunzuniki. See what you can do this time around. This is her third set piece from far out, Zunzuniki, and that's just way too high. Lopez trying to get an assist this time around. Viatora battling for it. Taken away, whiffed this time. Ayala, Viatora. Here's a chance, told to shoot. Curled and handled by Hernandez. Rubio with that shot. But I like that, you know, Acuna just telling El Salvador to shoot. Obviously, the goal was not even a shot, but it was tough for Hernandez to handle. And then Lopez was there to crash in and score. And so anytime you can, you know, add a chance for maybe another mistake, that would be helpful. Is that one looking to tug it in the corner, unsuccessful from Ayala? Just keeping the pressure on for El Salvador. Again, they've possessed, but they haven't challenged Hernandez as much as they could have when you consider how much they've actually had the ball. Lopez. Viatoro beat out. Up back in the attacking third for El Salvador. Quick little conversation with the Cuban defense there for, again, our referee Gonzalez today. Frederick. Lopez being boxed out. Back to Hernandez. Rubio collects, fires, and it's off the mark. Just bounces wide. 10-ish minutes left, as we're gonna see a change already in the first half. Going to be El Salvador with the first sub. Viatoro is going to come out. Angel will come in. So that's the change. Amy Angel enters the game. Corner on the way for El Salvador, looking for goal number 2.
mental, aplica el tuyo, expresa y propone vos. Y lanzame al área que tenemos presencia todo el tiempo.
Ayala low on the set piece, and she'll just do it again.
Cambio en el equipo de El Salvador. Con el número 16, sale del encuentro Nancy Villatoro. Con el número 12, ingresa.
¡Búsquelo!
Minuto 37.
Se hace difícil de marcar blanco.
This time, way more height to that one. I could see Sanchez just mistime that header chance. Here comes Cuba. That's behind. Dim Ellis. Nice leading pass. Successful tackle, though, put on. Recinos has been good defensively for El Salvador. Here she is, juking out defense on the other side for Cuba. Ayala kept in on this sideline. Makes a move and pulls it back out for Frederick. Intended for Sanchez, and she almost collides with the keeper, Hernandez. Recinos. Ping-ponging around here in the midfield. El Salvador and Cuba, again, game one here in Concacaf U20 play. It's a qualifying rounds. Everyone fighting to move on to the championship. There's a whole week of play, slew of games coming up tonight. I'm focused on this one right now, and the question is, can Cuba reset and get the equalizer, or will El Salvador be able to strike again? Might have an answer here. Dim Ellis, Monday, unable to get there. Pass way too ahead of her. Venezuela able to handle. Lopez, a little tripped up. Sanchez takes a shot from deep. Ooh, seemed like for a second that might hop in. Seeing Sanchez play a little bit higher up in the last couple of minutes. I like it though, pretty complete player. Zunzunaki. Well, I've seen she's got, again, a lot of strength. Push into the box. Ayala trying to get there. It's Hernandez, though. Quick toss. Frederick comes up, earns it back here for El Salvador. Up that flank, and she's pushed out. And just a couple of minutes to go here in the first half of El Salvador and Cuba. Ayala takes it away. Sanchez. Rubio. Dim Ellis. Now in the middle. Quick tap. Redirects. Bahamonde. Trying to cut past Frederick. She does. There's a nice feed. Blanco stalls. Blocked. Rosinos again. Header. And shading that nicely on the dive is Valenzuela, but didn't end up touching her. Ayala, quick passes turned over, and a nice tackle there. Looks like it didn't feel good, but successful for Guillen. Header for Sanchez, lands to her, cuts it back past the defender, and the defense collapses in. Zunzunaki in the nick of time is able to stop that. Otherwise, that was goal number 2. Here's a chance for Lopez, and it's just over the crossbar. Out again on El Salvador, but just keep on firing. Feels like something's got to give soon to get goal number 2. My only question for El Salvador, because again, I like how they are just continuing to shoot and hope that they can get something on frame that Hernandez can't handle. I wonder if they could get a couple of quick passes and get a little bit closer in the box to try to get a closer range shot, because a lot of them have been off the bounce to Hernandez that she's been able to snag. Easier said than done, though, of course. Going to get 1 minute of stoppage time here in the first half. And the only scoring we've seen is in the 5th minute. Entering stoppage time, Cuba fires. Valenzuela slides. Actually picks up out of the air. Ayala. Rubio. Rodriguez been playing towards the right since that substitution a couple of minutes ago for El Salvador. Sanchez fires, and it's way off. No rush again as we trend towards the end of the first half. And there's that whistle to end the first. So again, we see a goal in the 5th minute from Dariela Lopez. El Salvador strikes on a miscue from the goalkeeper Hernandez on the Cuban side. And that's the difference so far. El Salvador with a 1-0 lead over Cuba after 45 minutes. We'll take a break, come back for the second half after this.
La pelota. Mira, ¿quién va a entrar ahora? ¿Francia y Búscala? Mira, las pelotas no son aquellas.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the highlights here. Under-20 championship on the women's side. We're actually in the qualifying rounds, and this is the first game. It is El Salvador, Cuba, and this was the first opportunity for El Salvador in the 5th minute. You just see that cross is mishandled. Lopez is able to strike. Villatoro is the one to kind of create that, but Hernandez just has issues with it, and Lopez puts El Salvador up in the 5th minute, and you start to wonder, is this going to mean that things will spiral out of control for Cuba? It's actually not been the case as we take another look at these opportunities. I mean, Lopez has had plenty, and so has Sanchez as well for El Salvador. They just haven't been putting these in a spot that's really challenging Hernandez to make a tough save. Meanwhile, on the other side, we saw Cuba with a couple of set pieces that almost challenged Valenzuela, the goalkeeper on the other side. This one should have been goal number 2. Wide open for Lopez, looking for that brace, and she just sails it over the crossbar. Rubio, another one right to Hernandez, and so we'll see if things for El Salvador start to change, if they're finally able to hit those spots, as that one right to Hernandez as well. Just to keep on shooting, but it's been a lot of shots right to the goalkeeper or too high. Already seen one change as well for El Salvador, and I'm wondering if they're going to make a couple of other subs. Same with Cuba. But again, those are highlights from the first half, and really the main highlight happened within the first 5 minutes and that goal. Take a look at the stats so far in this game. Well, mostly it's just been El Salvador out-shooting, out-possessing Cuba. We'll see if they're able to do the same thing in the second half or not. We'll take a break and then back for the second soon.
Women's football fans are the future. Our great players are the future. The FIFA World Cup and Olympic champions are the future. But women's football is not the future. Women's football is here and now.
Visit the completely revamped Concacaf website. All information in one place with exclusive content. Connect to our match center. Access all the statistics in detail. Polls, quizzes, and live information of all our tournaments. Create your own Concacaf passport with custom preferences and share region rankings, player rosters, and lots more on social media. Concacaf offers you the best experience to enjoy soccer in the region with official and first-hand information to follow the action of your favorite team, country, or player.
Yeah.
living stateside and is definitely a player that can inject some life into this offense for El Salvador. Another player that's been a part of kind of the youth teams for a while, had some experience at different levels, and now is getting the shot with the U20 team. As again, we see those changes for both sides. Velasquez loses it. Here's Lopez again, scored in the 5th minute of this game. That's the only scoring that we've seen. El Salvador with that slight 1-0 lead over Cuba. Again, the second half is underway. Concacaf U20 qualifiers here. And this is just game 1 for these teams. Again, in a group that features Canada, it's really important to win, you know, this first game, I think, for both sides. DeMellis, burst of speed, runs right into the defense there, gets it right back. Did actually look like, oh, it went off on Cuba, so, or excuse me, El Salvador. Recinos seems a little shocked by it. Zunzuniki back to take the kick. We know she's strong. See if she can get this in the 18. She does. Lofted up header is missed. Guillen's there for El Salvador. And now Rubio wants to go. Cuba still just having some trouble connecting passes. There's a nice one for Lopez on the El Salvador side, but the tackle is strong, and Robert stops the bleeding there for Cuba. Velasquez in the box, takes a shot, but it's blocked down. Suarez, the one to stop that. There's a shot that's way high over the crossbar. But you could see Velasquez and just what she provides coming in off the bench for El Salvador. Definitely a weapon. Ledesma, one of the changes for Cuba, looking for fresh legs. They did a lot of work defensively because El Salvador was pressing, causing a lot of chaos. Should probably have a larger lead than they do. Ayala going to make some noise, and it's cleared out just before she can get there. T. Vega came in for Blanco. I see they're sub for Cuba. Jolted forward, and a trip is called. Zunzuniki, who else really on these? Franco up that sideline for Cuba. Castellanos puts it ahead. Here's a chance for Cuba to tie it up, and Valenzuela gets out. Well, El Salvador's keeper just saved them big time. We'll see this again. This is a great pass, and this defense is just not ready for it. El Salvador gets caught looking, perhaps ball hawking a little bit. Luckily, Valenzuela was there. That's the first time she's really been challenged in this game. Sometimes in order to just win these contests, you need your keeper to make one big save. That's exactly what happened there. See if, though, that breathes some life into Cuba. Gives them some hope that they can get that equalizer. We're just 5 minutes into this second half. Guillen, Lopez. El Salvador will get it back. Angel goes down. One of the first subs. She was the first sub in this game. Came in for Villatora in that first half. Guillen. Headed around, finally for Cuba. Rubio, strong. Past a couple defenders. Here's a chance for Lopez, and it rolls to the keeper, Hernandez. Again, later in this game, I think El Salvador will really regret letting Cuba hang around if they're not able to get this second goal. Rodriguez for Angel. Velasquez trying to get past the defender, and Zunzuniki trips her. Pretty obvious one there.
¿A quién tú marcas ahí? ¿A quién marcas ahí? Ubica, marca, Mimi. Ya, Mimi. ¡Sube!
Set piece coming for El Salvador. Concede Lopez. Velasquez trying to get open. Ayala will take this. Curls up, and it's right to Hernandez, but open was Lopez, just a hair off timing wise, but good chance there for El Salvador, just can't capitalize. Tackle is very successful. Just poked away Angel with that one for El Salvador. Full spin for Rodriguez. Rubio. Back to Rodriguez. There's some keep away here for El Salvador. Long ball bounces to Velasquez, just 17 years old on this roster. Obviously, we're at the U20s, so fairly young, all things considered. We're gonna get a whistle, and I believe that's because of the previous play. Off the ball, we just saw a shove from Cuba. Racinos goes down. Guillen. All the way into the 18. Ayala, Velasquez. Can someone get a foot on it? No. Again, these two teams in Group A. And that action will continue at 6 p.m. Eastern time as Martinique and Canada will go head-to-head. Here's an opening for Velasquez, but it's Hernandez, the keeper first. Cuban keeper rolls it out. Zunzun Iki threading it forward. Here's a chance. Tim Ellis keeps it in, just barely. And we'll get a toss here. Tim Ellis gets tripped up. We should see a free kick. We will. A little slow to get up. However, what we know is Zunzun Iki has the strength. The question is, actually from, it looks like it's not going to be her to take this one. A little bit surprised. Ledesma, it seems, will be the one. Valenzuela had to make a pretty point-blank save earlier in this half. We'll see if she has to do something similar to keep this score the way it is. El Salvador with a 1-0 lead over Cuba. Ledesma again came in here in the second half, and she'll be the one to fire on this free kick. Header. Light shot, and Valenzuela's in the right position. Velasquez. Pass one defender. Ayala in the box now, and a corner is on the way for El Salvador. From Ayala, Rodriguez fires, and Hernandez is there cutting off that angle. Throws it, Dim Ellis has some space. Here's a chance for Cuba on the move. Montalovo in a battle, and some pushing and shoving there with Guillen, who has to be careful. Guillen already has a card. She has a yellow. Right to Angel. We'll do it again. Zunzun Iki. Trouble handling for Cuba. Zunzun Iki on this near side. Punches it forward. Nobody on the other end of it, though. Rodriguez is back for El Salvador, but she dribbles out of play. Here's a chance for Cuba. Franco, the captain. Ledesma bouncing off a defender, and Rubio there. Still has it. Now she goes to the corner. Ledesma, is she going to run out of room? Yes.
Linda. Tenés que sacar a André en esa. Sigue muy cerca tuyo. ¿Qué le pasó a Gaby?
Oye, vamos a subir, vamos a subir. Sí, porque Dalia terminó allá.
Looks like we have an injury here as Rodriguez goes down. Didn't see what happened. Acuna looking on, head coach for El Salvador. He's already had to make a couple of changes, but now we're going to see the training staff on. Got about half an hour to go in this one. El Salvador and Cuba in their first game of group play in Concacaf U20 qualifiers. It is a hot one, 87 degrees in Dominican Republic, and so definitely lends itself to cramping, etc. We'll get a cooling break later, but this is going to serve as one as well. As they'll get the stretcher out, which they usually do in Concacaf just to ensure safety. And Rodriguez is going to be helped off the field. Presumably, El Salvador will have to make a sub. Tough for El Salvador because Rodriguez has been really strong on both sides today. We'll see what Acuna decides. Logao, head coach for Cuba, looking on, talking to his team. This second half for Cuba has been much stronger. Talova looking to make some noise, and you just see that their energy is a little stronger. I think they've been playing higher up, trying to cause El Salvador to make some mistakes. It's been working periodically. Rubio pushes it for Cuba, now towards the midfield. Little backtrack there. Montelovo leading pass wide. Vega, too heavy of a touch. Guillen, one hop to her own keeper. Frederick. Towards that midfield again. Ayala takes a bump from behind.
Arián, marca. Yané, mira la penalty. Córrete, dale con la 6.
From Guillen all the way to Velasquez. No, off ahead of a Cuban defender. Ayala picks it up on the wing, looks to go, and it's touched out. Zunzun Iki, the last to touch for Cuba. Angel fires from way out. Rubio tries to collect at the top of the box. I think it hit her hand. It did not. There's going to be a foul. And a great position for El Salvador. Might have hit a hand actually. Well, let's just take a look at this before I say anything. I see Hernandez at the near post talking to her defense. This is a tough break for Cuba. Let's see what El Salvador can run. Vecinos will be the one to step back and take it. Two of the smallest players on the field building that wall for Cuba. Vecinos low right into that wall. So successful was that. Off the throw, Velasquez gets a little turned around. Ayala getting out of trouble, and it's taken away. Cuba up that middle. Remelis with a big knock. Just back and forth we go. Not a ton of purpose there. Bump to Lopez. Turn around. Zun Iki regroups for Cuba. From Franco. Out. Angel. Hernandez. Punts it. Lopez, goal scorer in the 5th minute. Can she strike again? No, not on the same page with Velasquez. Demelis. Nothing much. No call. Angel rips away. Velasquez coming forward. Zun Iki and her will just have to go out of play. From Frederick, chipped to the midfield for Angel now. Looks to turn, but she turns right into trouble. Montelovo, right back to Frederick for El Salvador. Lopez, a couple of hacks at it defensively. Ayala gets beat out by Zun Iki, who now has some green. I've seen a lot of play in this last 3 or 4 minutes in the midfield. And finally something opens up. It's Velasquez. Here's a chance. Fires, and it bounces off the foot of a defender there. Not a strong enough shot, but either way, it's going to be a corner kick for El Salvador. Ayala. Far post action, nobody home. That was a great serve. Angel. Guillen. No real possession. Lovo trying to break through. Guillen says no. Enough time for everyone to really get back for El Salvador. lobbed. Dim Ellis, can she get there? Yes. Doesn't turn and fire. Would have been right into some white kits. Here's a chance. Trying to tuck it in the corner, unsuccessful. Ledesma, I think she's been good off the bench for Cuba. Just needs to be a stronger shot there. Get past Valenzuela, we've seen have a good game so far. Working with a shutout. Wants to hold on for the next 20 minutes. Cuba trending in the box, skiing. And we got a corner coming for Cuba. Again, this second half has been way stronger for Cuba. They've actually been attacking more. They've been in the box more, moving that defense around, trying to catch them disorganized. It's going to bring us to the cooling break here in the second half. Again, not much to update you about kind of what's going on around Concacaf U20s because this is day number 1. This is the first time slot, so there's going to be a bunch of games tonight, then games really for the rest of the week. And again, for El Salvador, just trying to hang on and win this first one. See Lopez, as it stands, she has that game winner. Cuba has 20 more minutes to get the equalizer. And this is good to see, by the way. Rodriguez is back on. Remember, she exited the game a couple of minutes ago. Training staff came off, and she had to be helped off the pitch, but appears to be all right and back on for El Salvador. Well-timed cooling break for both teams as well, because coming off a corner, both coaches could discuss how they want to execute this defensively, and then obviously for Cuba offensively. It's a really important moment. You can really draw something up. We'll see what Cuba has to offer. That one's sailing up, punched out. Here's a chance for the equalizer, cleared on the goal line. Wow. And boy, is El Salvador happy to have Rodriguez back in this game. We'll see an offside called after that. But Rodriguez came back in this game and just saved a goal on the goal line. That was the best chance by far for Cuba. End up offside on the second ball there. But I do love the way that Ledesma has served it up when she's had the chance. Thrown from Frederick. Velasquez turns on the wing, looking for options. It's poked out. Suarez last to touch, and so it's going to be El Salvador now with the corner. We'll see if they can execute to get a goal. Ayala's been the one to take it, and so far she's mostly been going far post, and El Salvador just hasn't had anyone with the ability to get ahead on that. 1-0. El Salvador leading. That one touched out by Hernandez. Ledesma Franco gives it right back to El Salvador. They'll work from behind, and their keeper, Valenzuela. Lova's offside. Seen both teams get caught in that situation a couple of times today. Velasquez can't get there. Suarez in a space, and that one just keeps on rolling. Zunzuniki goes down. Angel. Boza launches it up. Valenzuela goes out to dive and beats Castellanos to the ball. Velasquez. Crowded there with Lopez. Now she has some green. Off to Rodriguez. Rodriguez fires, and it's too high. Ooh, that looked like it had some texture at the end and maybe would hit top shelf. Looks like we have an injury for Cuba. But remember, Rodriguez just stopped the equalizer on the other side. Looks like we have an injury there for Cuba. Hate to see that. Yeah, just some leg-to-leg contact as Rodriguez gets the shot off. But you can see Robert go down in pain and just the aftermath and the sting of that. Training staff is out to help her. They're going to take Robert off the pitch. Again, hate to see that so late in the game, and obviously in game one as well. Hopefully she'll be all right. Ayala does a full 360. Rubio on that wing, back out to Ayala. Pass one defender, shoots, and it's up to Hernandez. Angel. Rodriguez is all alone. Keeps on going. She's onside. Crosses it. Here's Lopez, and she just whiffs it wide. Felt like she had time to maybe collect and fire. Great creation by Rodriguez, and smart to slice it back into space. And then Lopez just mistimes it. 10 minutes to go, El Salvador, Cuba. Only scoring in the 5th minute, nothing since. See if things start to open up as both teams start to get a little tired. Heat starts to affect them, etc. Again, obviously these players have been training. There really isn't much off time, whether it's for club, academy, or country. But there's something to be said about just working as a unit and some of the lumps that happen game 1 of these Concacaf qualifiers. Rolls to Hernandez, that shot from way deep. Off the corner, Valenzuela gets the rebound, swats it down, and now clears. Well, it does look like Robert was able to come back in. Remember, she was helped off the pitch just a couple of moments ago for Cuba defensively. Guillen, free kick. Can El Salvador get the second goal and just close the door on this game? We'll see. Guillen zips that one wide.
Vamos, vamos. Hey. Así. Vamos a levantar ahora. Juega, juega. Ahora. Tiene que subir, Amy. Suba el pressing.
Velasquez with the takeaway. Hernandez trips her, and this is going to be a penalty kick. A tough moment for Cuba. We'll see who takes this. Let's see this again. Was past the goalkeeper. Obviously the final line there for Cuba had beat her. And as a result, Hernandez undercut. And now she's gonna have to try to make a save on a penalty kick here. It's gonna be Angel to take it. Hernandez gets prepared. Get the feeling that this would be the nail in the coffin for Cuba if El Salvador is able to score on this penalty. From Angel, yes! And El Salvador is flying high. 2 goals. They take the lead at the end of this second half off a penalty kick. Interesting, just kind of bookend to this game because 5 minutes in, Lopez scores, and then Angel buries that penalty kick with 5 minutes left in this game. You can see the frustration from Hernandez Kind of a tough day with committing the penalty and then the rebounds popping off her gloves and into Lopez for goal number 1. There's a shot from deep, and Hernandez has it. Tavo with a chance, nice tackle. Rosinos has been the defensive MVP, I would say, for El Salvador. Done a really good job. Right on cue, commits a foul that was almost a penalty. There's a couple of steps outside the box. And she's gonna get a card for that, and she should. That is not a legal tackle there. I mean, 4-ish minutes left. Of course, we'll have some stoppage time because we had a couple of injuries in this second half. Let's see this again. Yep, pretty clear. Ledesma goes flying. The second yellow card against El Salvador's defense. Obviously, if Cuba can get one here, that just changes the game, and El Salvador's not going to walk away with an easy victory. Makes things very interesting. Ledesma and a food wrapper back to take this. Venezuela stops it. Here's a chance, cleared. Guillen with a big boot out of trouble. We've seen 2 players come up big for El Salvador right in that 6. Of course, we saw one saved on the goal line, and then we see Guillen just punch that out of trouble. A center back for El Salvador, and now they'll try to do it again. Ledesma, it's up. Header, off the post and in. Cuba strikes. Well, sometimes you just need a lucky bounce, and that certainly was. It's Sheila Vega who strikes, and the lead is now 1 for El Salvador with just a couple minutes left in this game. Cuba has made this an interesting match. Like I said, I love the way that Ledesma has executed on these corners. She's been fantastic, and that's just Vega getting in for a header off the post and in. Well, no shutout for El Salvador. And now they find themselves with just a couple of minutes left, and Cuba maybe with some momentum after that goal. El Salvador just going to make short passes, keep everyone moving, and try to possess, but that one just off target on its way to Rodriguez, and Cuba, excuse me, will get the ball back. Logo looking on, his team not going quietly. Angel had the penalty that ultimately proved to be very, very important in this game because of that last Cuba goal. If everything stands, that Angel penalty is the game winner. Lopez stretching out. Velasquez has it taken away by Robert. There she is again, gets tangled up. Play on, Velasquez in trouble. Ledesma ricochets that off her own player. And now Angel can just soar that one to Hernandez, the keeper. Again, trending towards stoppage time here in the second half. El Salvador and Cuba. 3 minutes of stoppage time, 3 more minutes for Cuba to see if maybe they can get the equalizer.
Oye, que estamos perdiendo. Oye, ¿viste?
Oh, we got a player down for Cuba.
Calla. Es que se fue de ahí,
Looks
mi amor,
like
estamos perdiendo y 3
it's
minutos.
Suarez. It is, yes.
Mírame, eso no se te puede ir.
Liani Suarez in pain for Cuba. Again, mentioned the heat. I think she got... Not sure what happened there. Definitely made some contact with Velasquez, but now the training staff is out. Just stretching her out, perhaps a bit of a cramp. Acuna. Things getting dicey for El Salvador. Looked like they were going to walk away after that penalty, and then moments later, Cuba goes down and scores. Just making him sweat a little bit if he already wasn't in Dominican Republic heat. Oh, they're going to have to stretcher her off. Again, that's just what they do for these Concacaf. Just get the player off quickly and make sure everything's all right. Don't want to risk aggravating something. Lopez. Demelis with the takeaway. Off Rodriguez. Limited time here for Cuba. Gotta go quickly. Back to Hernandez. And there is the whistle to end game number 1. El Salvador sneaking past Cuba. 2-1 is the final score. Again, game 1 of Concacaf W group play in the U20 side. Very tightly contested game, especially in that second half, but El Salvador comes out with the victory, and Amy Angel with the game-winning penalty in the second half. Let's take a look at the highlights. Concacaf Under-20 qualifiers on the women's side. El Salvador and Cuba. And right away in the 5th minute, look at this cross from the wing. Broken up by Hernandez, but she bobbles it. Hernandez, the keeper for Cuba, and El Salvador is the first to strike. as, again, just can't totally handle it, trying to crawl to it, and Lopez is able to finish. That was goal number 1 in this game, and it would be a while till we saw anything else scoring-wise, as El Salvador was able to hang on to that 1-0 lead. And in the first half, there was a couple of chances for Cuba, but honestly, they really just were not in El Salvador's attack, or excuse me, they were not in the attacking third at all. It was El Salvador with plenty of chances. They just kept sailing them over the crossbar, or they would hit them right into the keeper, Hernandez. And so just felt like they really had a chance to build upon that lead in the 5th minute, and they just didn't do it in the first half, as Hernandez with a couple more stops right to her, and this one from Lopez just over the crossbar again. That was all in the first half, and in the second half, this Cuban team played a much stronger game. They were able to finally get some shots off and, you know, just make some stronger offensive plays. Lots of openings, and that was the best save that we saw in the game, besides one from Rodriguez on the line for El Salvador. But Valenzuela just comes out and stops that one, and Velasquez definitely a welcome sub for El Salvador. Rodriguez fires. That one looked like it was going to curl in top shelf. It didn't. Again, El Salvador had plenty of chances to really end this game earlier than they ultimately did. A couple of strikes right to Hernandez. Rodriguez, again, trending towards the box to Lopez, who just completely whiffs there. She had multiple chances for a brace, but it's Velasquez who comes in. She gets tripped in the box, so it's a penalty. Angel buries it, tucks it in the corner past Hernandez, and that makes it 2-0 El Salvador. Frustration for Hernandez, but just cool, calm, and collected was Angel. It seemed like that was going to close the lid on this game. However, Cuba had some things to say about it on the other side. Immediately after, we got a set piece, and header bounces off the post and in. It's Vega, another player off the bench for Cuba to score. And you can see the heartbreak there for El Salvador, and it looked like, uh-oh, is Cuba going to launch a very late comeback? They did not. That was it scoring-wise, but it does ruin the shutout for El Salvador. And if you're Cuba, it just gives you some lessons learned. Played much better in the second half. Oh, that's going to do it from us here, Concacaf W U20 qualifiers. I'm Maura Sharon. Remember, we got a slew of games over the course of the week. And in Group A, Canada and Martinique coming up at 6 Eastern time. We'll see you then.